I'm just clicking admit.
I know. I've been clicking too. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get started so we can keep as close to time as possible and people can filter in as they join. But I'm Khadijah Robinson. I am the founder of Nile at thenihilist.com. And Nile is a digital platform that connects consumers with Black-owned brands online. So all about facilitating online shopping with Black businesses. And today we are hosting a hybrid panel / working group talking about building a Black ecosystem. And I am sharing in the chat one more time for the people who are just joining us a Google document where I've included some information about who's going to be speaking with us today and how things are going to flow. But just to give everyone a sense, we're going to have a very short introduction of our speakers, and then also a panel discussion between the three speakers who are joining me. And then each of those speakers is going to be hosting a breakout room session for 30 minutes where you all will be able to actually talk about in a little bit smaller and more conversational space some of the aspects that we think are important to building this Black tech ecosystem. And then we're going to come together for the last 10 minutes to talk about what we've done in the breakout sessions. And if people are interested in follow-up, and hopefully you are, and actually taking action on some of the items that we discuss in our breakout sessions, then we'll talk about facilitating that. So I want to just do brief introductions of who we have joining us today. Besides me, we have Jason Coles, who is the founder and the CEO of Katika. And in the document, I've included a link and also contact information for Jason and our other speakers. But Katika is a Black-owned business discovery platform, and they are building out an awesome directory that's especially good for local businesses. And they are also bicontinental, not just focusing on the US, but also Black businesses in Africa. Jason is an alumni of Howard University, and I've included his email address in our Google document. We are also joined by Renee King, who is the founder of FundBlackFounders, which is a social impact platform that allows Black founders to crowdfund in order to raise capital for their businesses. And I'm really excited to have Renee join us because she is going to be pitching in the pitch competition a little bit later on today. So hopefully everyone will stick around for that and make sure that you watch her pitch and vote for her. I'm really excited about that, and also really excited about having Renee join us because Nile, my company, actually has an active crowdfunding campaign with Renee's platform that has been such a phenomenal experience. And then finally, we are joined by Anthony Edwards, who is the founder and CEO of Eat Okra. And Eat Okra is a comprehensive Black business directory app that focuses on Black food and beverages. So you can find Black restaurants in your area using their app, and you can also find Black-owned food items through their marketplace. And they're bringing together people with one of the our favorite things, food, at least for me. So very excited to have Anthony joining us as well. And I am going to go straight into the questions that I have for our panel. And I'm going to pose the same question to everyone, each one of our panelists, and then ask that you just give your answer in 2 minutes so we can stick to schedule and get into our breakout rooms. So my first question is, why Black? And this is a question that I got a lot when I was building Nile, which we started building in 2019. And at that time, it was perhaps less apparent than it is now, but a lot of people asked why I was focusing on Black owned brands as opposed to any other brands, or as opposed to general businesses owned by people of color or women or minorities. And it's something very interesting that I thought through significantly in building our platform. But I'd love to hear from our other panelists about why you chose to focus on Black founders, on Black businesses, and on Black restaurants. So I'll start with Jason. If you can just unmute yourself and let us know why Black for Katika.
Sure, and thank you so much for having me today. Thank you so much for everybody for joining. This is really exciting. I've been on a ton of Zoom calls, but when seeing the topic of discussion that we were going to be covering today, this one definitely got me excited. So why Black? I would say that, historically, we've just been marginalized. And one thing that my co-founder and I found was that, and just to go back really quick, my co-founder and I, we met at Howard University. She's from South Africa and lives there now. So between the two of us, we've actually traveled to probably over 40 countries within the African diaspora. And so we literally just kept seeing the same marginalization of Black people in all the countries that we were in, whether it's the United States, South Africa, any European countries, or in the Caribbean. And so our goal or mission was to provide economic mobility tools as well as education tools in order to close that gap. So how can we start to put resources and things in the hands of common business owners or people coming up with an idea that may not have a computer or just need to be able to utilize the technology that is accessible to them. So the idea of Katika, again, was to kind of bridge that technology gap to a underserved market, not only here in the States, but a problem that we saw persisted across the diaspora.
Thank you for that. Renee, same question.
I think for the reason why we focused on it was because when you look at all the data points, whenever anyone is talking about who gets access to venture capital, who gets access to bank loans, who gets access to any resources, the last community always to be at the bottom of the barrel, or the least amount of, to receive the least amount of the resource is the Black community. So when we do these resources that are just targeted to like minorities overall, it's not hitting down below that the person who really needs it the most and who has endured a lot of challenges when you look at our history of what we've gone through. So we said we're gonna go out there and we're gonna be very bold and we're going to say it's Black, and we're gonna be focused on Black entrepreneurs, Black innovation. And I remember during the early part of our journey, we've had folks who have said to us even like, you should change your name. Like, don't say Black in it. And we just knew that we wanted to be that organization that said, no, we want to stand up for all of our entrepreneurs who they have viable businesses, right? They have viable businesses and they're capital efficient. They just need some additional, let's just get them the resources they need so that they can go ahead and scale and grow. So we were totally fine with being put the target on us. We're going to say it. We're going to be that one loud voice in the room who's going to say, but what about the Black entrepreneurs?
Thank you. Renee, Anthony?
Everybody, thank you for having us. To answer that question, it's why not? Why not really targeting the Black community? For us, we got our start because really out of a need for Janique and I, we really wanted to support our local community, and and it was new to us, so what better way than to, this is my wife Janique, co-founder as well, what better way to get to know the community through Black food. And for us, we really wanted to, we saw a need that everybody needs to eat. So we need that we could create an app that really centers Black food and beverage. And
Yeah, for us, I think it was just really realizing, also kind of touching on what everyone else said, the lack of resources, right? And in terms of specifically when you're talking about the food and beverage industry, there are lack of resources in that sense too for Black business owners. Anthony had the skills to kind of create a platform that would kind of um, bridge that gap in a way that we would provide a service for people with those limited resources, and provide that service at a price point that was, beneficial to them, that didn't, kill their pockets, so to speak. And so we kind of went with that. We wanted to be able to provide a digital marketing platform that was affordable, that met those needs, and serve the community in that way.
Right, and not just in a resource way, but in a way where people can find restaurants both digitally and in real estate, because real estate is very tough, and we're not always in locations that are prime real estate. So this app provides an opportunity to get found on the side street, so to speak.
Definitely. And I appreciate it. I use it. For the question for us, for Nile, why Black? I, of course, echo everything that everyone else has said. And I really think that for the Black community, particularly as a Black woman, we always show up for everyone else. We are always on the front lines, making sure that every other community is getting a seat at the table. And when you look at a lot of the things that we have done in this country, and how the Black community has fought to move the needle forward on so many social and so many humanitarian and so many justice issues in this country, we've been across the board making sure that benefits other communities. And I wanted to make sure that we had something that was very purposefully dedicated to uplifting us front and center, and thinking even about affirmative action platforms and initiatives around the country. You'll see that a lot of them actually, even though it was our community that has fought for them and that's brought them into existence, we are not the primary benefits. It's other communities that that thankfully have been able to benefit from those. And so I thought that I would build something that was very much so centering Blackness and normalizing it in a way that until 2020 and all the events that have transpired this year has been a bit more difficult to imagine. So my next question is, what is the biggest limitation of technology when it comes to building this Black tech ecosystem that we're talking about? And all of us are participating very actively in this Black tech ecosystem, building platforms that are tech enabled and very tech focused. And so I'll start this time actually with Renee. I'd love to know from your perspective, what are the limitations of technology here, particularly when you're looking to build something that's very community focused?
So I hope I'm understanding the question clearly. I will say from my vantage point, as it relates to limitations around tech and our ecosystem, right? And like our entrepreneurs who have brilliant ideas and need, and they may not be technical, right? But they need to execute. I think there is a challenge of connecting the folks who can actually execute on it with them. So connecting the technical person to that brilliant founder's idea. I think connecting also the technical person to tech enable some of our businesses already. So that's a challenge that we need to work on. Like, how do we fix that? Like Eat Okra is a beautiful aspect because Anthony's technical. Like, so Anthony's like building this, and that's a great thing. And we have founders like that, and they do very, very well. But then there's also like lots of innovation that can come, more innovation that could come if like we can help those who are not tech enabled or not technically savvy to get the resources that they need to create what they're creating. And I'm not sure, Jason, if you are technical too, but I'm just from my vantage point, if we can figure out a better way of connecting that, we'll see even more results.
Well, on that point, I will go to Jason then, who actually is technical. He's leaving us in the dust when it comes to the tech side. So Jason, please, from your point of view, what is the, the biggest limitation of technology for you?
For me, because I am a technical founder, I've been programming since I was 16, making Dragon Ball Z fan pages. So I don't really have any limitations, but what I have found is, especially because now I'm a part of an accelerator program, to Renee's point, it really comes down to the education piece. So a lot of times I think that, founders, we have great ideas, but in today's, what I call the internet economy, if you will, you have to be able to quantify everything and to measure everything. You will not see $1 of funding, serious funding, unless you're able to adequately show, your metrics and your growth. So with that said, if you build your platform, whatever that startup is, with those tools that enable you to show that quantitative data, you'll definitely be better off for that. And then last thing I'll say is one thing that I'm actually reading in a book, which I recommend everyone read, called The Lean Startup, is to not get caught up in what are called vanity metrics. So don't just think about how many users came to my website, because that chart will look like this, right? I got 1 million hits, it looks like that. But how many people actually made an account? That data wouldn't be reflected in how many people went to your website. So, in terms of technical limitations, again, as a technical founder, I necessarily don't have any, but I would say that for folks that are starting a business, or you may have a business, just be able to quantify everything that you do and to build a team that can complement your skill set. So if I wasn't a technical person, I would seek somebody, try to build my mastermind group, right? To have somebody that's technical on my team. And then, of course, you could also weigh outsourcing some of those things with a platform like Upwork.com. If you maybe don't have the technical skill sets, you can find those folks on there. So I would leave it there.
Thank you for that, Jason. I will take it over to the Edwards team and ask, from your perspective, what is limiting about technology when it comes to accomplishing the mission of your company and really creating that community?
Yeah, thank you. Jason and I are fortunate to be tech-enabled developers to kind of build our product, which is a huge advantage, and we don't take that lightly. But even for us, I would say we're limited by resources too, and being able to scale and get more developers to hire to do different contract work or hire as an employee full time. I would say that's a really a limiting factor for us, is just being able to kind of build quicker, scale quicker, and you need more resources and more people to do that. Yeah. Or to even get better technology on what you're using. We're building React Native, but you can build as a full native app, but that requires 2 separate teams, and more money and more people to kind of really build a fine native experience.
Right. So basically you need that Google, Amazon, Microsoft money.
Right.
The classic issue of resources when it comes to Black founders and Black tech. I definitely
I would actually have to push back on that a little bit, and only because I think that if you Google app development, it'll show you a price that says $100,000. I'm pretty sure Anthony and I, we paid nowhere, not even a fraction of that. So I think a lot of times that, websites, we kind of have a general idea it might cost, $1,000. But as soon as we think app, it's like $20,000 and up or $100,000. But what's happened is a lot of tools have been built, specifically
Mhm.
APIs. So now you don't have to, spend maybe 6 months building this thing because a lot of these things are already built. You kind of just have to bring them all together. Now, going back to the technical piece is knowing someone or
Right.
so
So it sounds like one of the limitations that you're bringing up is the access to those resources and the knowledge of what is out there that can help streamline that process. And I will say that when I started building Nile, I was so fortunate to be connected with Jason, who was able to help me tap into some of those resources that did help streamline the process. And it was so fundamental. But for a lot of us who are not coming from a technical background and haven't traditionally tapped into those resource networks, it can be very difficult. So I'm going to move to our last question, which I will pose to our panelists, and I think I will start back with Jason for this one. Jason, I'd love to know, from your perspective, how will you know when you have accomplished your goal with your platform? What would that look like?
That's interesting. So because we have like our mission and vision kind of statement. So like, for instance, like our vision is to be a transatlantic economy, right? So I guess one way to answer that is when I start seeing products moving between South Africa and the US or, the Caribbean, et cetera. But sitting here in the city of Philadelphia and doing, my handling work, I would say when I start to see an uptick in probably the actual bookings or people actually, going to our directory, finding a plumber and, getting that service through that plumber. So kind of the quantitative, I guess, aspects or what they call KPI, key performance indicators of our platform. So seeing that, but, our ultimate goal is one, we want to see employment, and two, we want to see, businesses grow, not just sole proprietorships, but how can you hire people, grow these businesses so they can hire. So I think that technology is an industry that has a low barrier to entry, that can grow very fast, and that can hire fast. So, here in Philadelphia, we're looking to build something, what I call the digital Wakanda, like a black Silicon Valley, if you will.
Right.
So I would say all of the above would be my marks for accomplishing my goals.
Okay, I'm going to take it over to Renee. In 1 minute, please tell us, how will you know when FundBlackFounders has accomplished its goal?
For me, we'll know that we've accomplished our goal once every Black entrepreneur, like all over the world, not just US, knows about us, and they know, like, once they have an idea, they come straight to us, right? They come straight to us, and we're able to get them that start capital, right? And we're able to get them a good amount of start capital past, like right now, our first goal is like, we're trying to get everyone past 25K, right? Minimum. That's what we're trying to do. Then after that, we want to get them further up in terms of additional funding. So because there's this like valley of death, you should Google this, between like 25K to 250K, where like you're high at risk of your business not being a success. So we just want to be that go-to friends and family capital for every Black entrepreneur who has an idea and they have some innovative thing they want to get out there, but they need some capital. We want us, that's when we know we've made it, where they know, everyone just says, oh, go to FundBlackFounders, they come on, we take them through the process and they secure that capital.
Thank you, Renee. I'm looking forward to that day. Anthony or Edward's team, how will you know when Eat Okra has accomplished its goal?
You got it? I would say for me, I would really feel putting some butts in the seats, and we're seeing our restaurant partners staying open just a little bit longer, if not, making it past that first 3 years and 5 years. We want to see that rate of of open rates stay open longer, and we want to know that we've been attributed to that kind of success.
Yeah.
In our community.
And I mean, we're seeing it at the very beginning now, when, you know, we've gone to restaurants, you know, just to eat out ourselves, and they said, oh, you guys that eat okra, like, we've had people come in here and tell us all about you guys. They found our restaurant through you. Or we have users, you know, writing us, emailing us saying, I found these, you know, this really great spot that I didn't know existed because of your, you know, your app. So we're getting there in terms of like accomplishing some of those goals, but I think we have even more things that we need to, you know, accomplish.
Right. To Jason's point, we want to see those KPIs really going up and really be able to say, like, Eat Okra is a key part of why my restaurant, or not even restaurant, you know, brick and mortar, food truck, catering business really excelled and exceeded and really helped.
Right. And that's so important, particularly now where we see so many Black businesses and particularly restaurants really struggling in the COVID time. So, you know, for me, for Nile, I think I will know we have succeeded when I see a real culture shift, and when buying Black is not a day, it's not a hashtag, it's not a, you know, social media trend that comes and goes. It is a front and center and a very natural behavior of consumers across the board, whether they are Black or not. So I'm looking forward to that day. Now, everyone, I want to get us into our breakout rooms so that we have time to chat. Our speakers have some great topics, and you can find them in our Google document. I'm just going to reshare that one more time for anyone who did not catch the link before. But we're going to go into breakout rooms now. And in those breakout rooms, you're going to be able to chat more intimately with our speakers. And hopefully, each of the breakout rooms will be able to come up with one point that everyone in that room can agree on as sort of an action item that we can bring back to the group, and we can all become a part of the solution, a part of the fabric of this Black tech ecosystem that we are building individually and collectively. So breakout room time. I'm very excited, everyone. We're going to come back with 10 minutes left, and I'll see everyone then.
Hi there. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Everyone's in breakout
Hi.
room. Is there a room that you'd like to join? Renee King, Anthony Edwards, or Jason Coles?
Yeah, I can join Renee's too.
Any of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I am trying to make sure we get everyone back from the breakout rooms. I think we're still missing, it looks like we might still be missing Renee and her folk. Yes, please close all the rooms. We want to come back. All right, so hopefully everyone enjoyed their breakout room session. While we're waiting for our last set of people to come back to us, I just want Anthony, if you can just let me know what you all came up with in your breakout room as your action item. I'm going to drop it into our document and make sure that we have some follow-up opportunity.
Okay. Yeah. So we spoke about what is the conscious consumer, and what we came back was really managing expectations when working or when using a Black-owned platform.
Yeah, I appreciate that one because I caught part of that conversation, and I think it's so important and it's so true that we that we don't have the same resources as a lot of the tech giants, and we're not going to be able to deliver that same experience initially, but we won't ever get there if people don't have the faith in us to build and to grow. Google didn't start out where it is now. They definitely had their Ask Jeeves moment back in the day. And so y'all got to bear with us as we get through our Ask Jeeves moments so we can get to our Google glory. I'm just going to drop that into the action item section of our Google document. Under our action items, I'm just going to say, bear with us and give grace to, Black platforms and businesses as we grow. Renee, I see you're back. Do you want to let us know what your action item was coming out of your session?
Our action item is to build a more intimate community. So versus there's a lot of groups, there's Slack groups, there's the Facebook groups and all this stuff, but like, how do we make it like a more intimate, safe space where Black founders can connect and talk and interact? More of a connection versus the typical, it's just an alert on Slack of like an opportunity and nothing facilitating sharing of resources. So we're going to work together on figuring that out.
I love that.
I do have another ask though once you're done going through your thing.
Okay, well, let me get to Jason and then we're going to have all the ask.
Oh, I'm muted? Oh, no. Okay. So, I've actually got two asks. So, one, register to vote. Everyone register and vote. And then the other is so in our session, we talked about access to capital. So depending on which stage you are, we want everyone to commit to, at some point, when you are ready to raise capital, commit to FundBlackFounders and sign up to raise your capital through that platform.
Thank you. Can I try my ask in right there too? By the way?
Yes, please throw your ask out there.
So if everyone, by the way, like Khadijah and Anthony still have open crowdfunding campaigns on our platform right now. So I would like everyone in this call and watching the recording to please go to the platform FundBlackFounders and go and contribute to Khadijah the Nihilist, her campaign, and to Anthony Eat Okra. I'm trying to get them to their next bump of where they are. Like I think Khadijah's close to 40K right now, I believe. And Anthony, yes, and Anthony's close to 30K. So if everyone can go and contribute minimum of like $40 each to each campaign, I would love it. And that is my ask of everyone on here. And if you click on there and you can't get in, just try again. We like grace with our platform. Thank you.
As we said before, we got to get through our Ask G's moments to get to our Google glory. So I love that we have action items. Again, for everyone who has joined us, our Google document, and I'm just going to share it one more time in case you missed the link. We have a Google document where you can drop your contact information if you want to follow up with us on these action items. But I think it's so important, particularly, and I'm going to share Renee's platform, FundBlackFounders. That is also linked in our Google document for anyone who wants to drop in there and just click through. But I think this has been a great conversation, and I'm really happy that we've been able to come out of it with actual action items. If you want to drop your contact information in there, we'll make sure that we follow up, and then all of our contact information is there. So if you want to check out our platforms, if you want to talk to us, if you want to get us interacting with people that you think that we should meet or talk to, and if you want to be a part of facilitating this Black tech ecosystem that we're building in our different lanes, I would be so excited for that. And I see everyone is dropping in their information in the chat. It's also, contact information is available in our Google Docs, so make sure you get that. And I just want to say thank you so much to all our speakers and to everyone who has joined us. We have so much ahead of us. I'm so excited, and it gives me so much joy to have people who are all in our own ways contributing to building this community and to facilitating Black entrepreneurship in a new and interesting way. So I am really excited. I believe there's a break right now in the general summit calendar, and we have until 1. So I'm just going to stick around for a few minutes for anyone who wants to throw out any additional info, chat, ask a few more questions. But otherwise, if you got things to do, places to go, people to see, then go do that. Last thing before we do leave, everyone, Renee will be pitching today in the Pitch for Purpose component of the Digital Empower Summit, and there is a popular vote component attached to that. So I really hope that everyone here will go and watch Renee's pitch and vote for her. What time is that going to happen, Renee?
I think it's 1:30.
Okay.
I believe
Starts at 1:45. 1:45.
Thank you.
Girl, I need you to know when you pitching. Don't show up late.
I'm just gonna go to the next Zoom like right after and just sit there and wait.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Ken, and everyone who's dropping interesting things into our chat. So yeah, I'm here for anyone who wants to come off mute and chat a little bit more. Or throw anything else out that you think should be in our Google Doc as follow-up. And we're going to make sure that we actually get some action items going from this breakout room. Because I'm all about coming together and building community and talking about what we're doing, showcasing it and how we're doing it, and having that conversation. But I also am all about action. So I'm excited about continuing to build together. Yay.
Thank you. I'm curious to know, like, if you can use your thumbs up, like how many, with everyone, if you're leaving, you can leave, but I want to know how many like entrepreneurs were in the room, because I think there were like a couple.
Yeah, we had some entrepreneurs, at least in the rooms when I was dropping in. I see, of course, Ken raising his hand. I loved all of Ken's commentary in your session.
Ken is awesome.
Please feel free to come off video or come onto the video and interact, chat with us.
Right. And then I see, and also in the comments, and this was in Jason's room, Taja, she is a nihilist. So for anyone who hasn't had a chance to check out Nile yet, Our site, thenihilist.com, connects you with Black e-commerce brands. And we have, at this point now, thousands of brands there. I'm super excited about that. And we had in Jason's chat, someone whose brand is listed with us. So I'm all about it.
That's so awesome.
I love being able to talk to the people who are on our platform.
Can I just say that this has been, you guys are giving me like, this is like a live episode of a different world for me. I'm serious. I've been so isolated. I've been in such a different space just with my trajectory, my career, school. And it's possible partially because I live in California. You know, I'm from Detroit. I was born in Detroit, but I was raised in SoCal. And even though I've visited, you know, Atlanta and different places, I didn't go to an HBCU. I've never been to Washington, D.C. like at all. Like that feels like a whole nother planet to me. So I guess what I'm saying is like the Blackest areas that I've been in have been like really, I would say Atlanta really, because I was in high school when I went there and then I moved back to California. So I've just, in my soul, I mean, is this being recorded, by the way? It is.
We are recording.
Okay, well, I guess everyone will know. In my soul, I honestly have been just really seeking the opportunity to, you know, exchange Black dollars, just revive the whole thing. And I've been feeling this Black Renaissance, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. I just had to keep listening. And so I don't even remember how I found out about this summit today, but I'm just glad that I'm here. And just thank you guys. Thank everyone so much for just being a light and just shining, because it's helping. And I've been seeing it here and there, and I'm finally ready to join in too. So thank you so much.
We're so happy to have you, and thank you. I think now you can say that the Blackest place you've been is here in this Zoom chat.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it feels so good to be able to just be myself and receive and give. So thank you so much to all of you, and good luck.
Thank you. And at one point, I know you shouted out that you didn't go to an HBCU, and just talking about not necessarily having that that physical connection to an immediate Black community. And I think that when we talk about building a Black tech ecosystem, I think it's so important that a lot of us started in and not necessarily a digital or a technical community, but we've come from Black communities that are part of a larger Black ecosystem in other ways, and sort of translating that into technology. I'm a graduate of Spelman College, the illustrious Spelman College. I would not trade my HBCU experience for anything. It's been so important to shaping who I am and how I interact with the world, and how I focus and uplift the Black community. And Jason is a graduate of Howard. So I know, you know, right, we got that HBCU going on, and that's just been so important, that community and other ways that the Black community has really created this fabric of interactions and connectivity that a lot of us as young founders are now bringing into the technical space.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and unfortunately I do have to hop off, but one, I just want to thank you again, Khadijah, for organizing this. This was, you know, everything that Sharice said. I hope I pronounced your name right. But yeah, you know, we have to start having these dialogues more often. We all know there's a lot of work to do, right? We know that there's generational bridges that we have to, or forces that we have to eventually have to deal with it and work together to solve our bigger issues in general. But I think that the call to action is there, and as we keep having these types of forums and you know, folks like us keep building products and platforms, it'll really start to gel together. And then having important pieces like Renee in there to get us funded. You know, it's so many moving pieces to the puzzle, but the important thing is that we are finally having these dialogues. And so I hope that, you know, I know that, you know, the chamber kind of sponsored this, but I hope we continue this. Now let's maybe do like a monthly, you know, call like this. So thank you once again. Do have to depart, but thank you everybody for joining. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, my contact information is in the shared doc that Khadijah shared. And with that, HU, you know.
Thank you, Jason. Anthony, I see we have our youngest founder joining us. Does she have any commentary?
The boss is here.
Right. Yay, she liked our talk.
So, yeah. I just wanted to say, I wanted to chime in to just say, like, one of the things I wanted to mention during this, before we had like a thought of what this talk was going to be, was just the community experience that like Anthony and Khadijah have done for me. And like, I hope I've done for them too. Like, and that's what like, I think this whole ecosystem needs. It's like a give and grace. And they literally have been so much give and grace for like everything. Like, it's been like, no, we're going to come to you. Yeah, this broke, but we're going to ask you like, how did it break? How do we like, and still give me grace. Right. Like, and I think that's really important. I know you guys had mentioned it earlier, and I'm so grateful for that, because like that's not always a experience that you have all the time, right? There's sometimes like there's this there's like a meme that goes around where people comment about like service or going to, you know, shopping Black and things of that sort, what you're going to experience. And I just try to like make sure people need to understand, like, we do this work without Amazon money. Okay, we do this work without it. We're not there yet. So I appreciate, thank you, Khadijah, and thank you, Anthony, for that. And also Daryl, and also Ken, like,
yeah,
everyone. So just wanted to say that it's so important.
Thank you, Renee. And it is so important. And I think, you know, as a founder, I had a very interesting moment a couple of weeks ago. I was putting in an application for Y Combinator, which is a very well-known, probably the most well-known startup accelerator out there. And I felt very fortunate to be connected with a former Y Combinator partner who, you know, agreed to review my application and talk to me about it. And when I actually spoke to her over the phone, it was such an interesting conversation, because I explained that I've been building Nile and how passionate I am about it, why I'm building it, some of the challenges that we're facing, how we're trying to work around that. And I am an attorney. And so I've also been working as an attorney throughout this time of building the company. And she said, well, you know, some people are going to want to know why you're still working on something else and why you haven't gone full time with the business. And I've said, well, nothing I would love more than to go full time with the business, but you know, bills. we gotta pay the rent. We gotta pay the mortgage. We gotta pay for the business, and a lot of that necessary capital coming into the business in the beginning, when we aren't making money and when we're just building and putting our heads down and trying to get the product ready, is coming from us and not from parents who can just write you a check, or, you know, the country club family and friends who can say, oh, that's a great idea. I'd love to give you $100,000 to build that out. And so she said, well, yeah, okay. So have you thought about like just saving for a couple of months and like quitting your job? Can't you just always get another job if you need to? And I was like, I didn't know that in the pandemic jobs were just growing on trees. But no, I don't know that that's necessarily the most viable option for me. But it just, I think what it really drove home for me, and thinking about this as someone who's so committed to building this Black tech ecosystem is that these are the people that we are not only being, judged by, these are the people who are serving as the gatekeepers, but the folks that we are competing with are folks who can just quit their jobs and get another job if they need to, if it doesn't work out. And a lot of folks, when you're in the startup world, and will say, oh, like this number of startups fail, and you might learn great lessons, and you should, pivot and iterate and all of these things, and almost kind of flippant about, like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you learned a lot. And for for a lot of us Black entrepreneurs, Black founders, Black startups, we're putting so much into this that isn't given, that it's not just like, oh, it didn't work out, okay, cool. On to the next project with my next batch of money from someone else. We don't get to just fail at a startup and get someone else to give us some more money to start another thing and see if that works. And we don't get to just leave our jobs and put our heads down and see if we can make something happen with someone else's money. So, but those are people who we're competing with and who we're being compared to when we are building what we're building. So it's sobering to think about. It is a very interesting place to be in. Renee, it looks like you.
This is the battle that I fight, like, daily, in explaining, like, this is our founders, and what my goal is not to, I want them to understand, like, that's a bias, right? And they have their misconceived perception of why we're doing what we're doing, or why that's our situation, right? They're not clear on that. They don't understand that. But the other aspect is that I want to build a world where we don't have to answer to that too, right? Like, that isn't I want it to be more folks who you can talk to who understand that completely and are like, yeah, I get it. Like, you need to still be doing that. So, like, why not? Because then you think there's other options, like there's venture firms or studio firms where you can be an entrepreneur in residence while building your business, and they're funding that. So, like, it's still the same thing of you having, like, a separate job. So let's not I want to change that thought when it comes for us. I don't want us to have to conform to those metrics. I want to still do it our way. And I always say this point, it has bothered me when people make those comments, because the most successful entrepreneurs I know all are juggling multiple things. Like, they're all juggling multiple things. They're not just doing one thing. So the fact that it's like, okay, but Khadijah, you need to just be head down on this, baffles me at times, where it's like, no, like you need to have multiple revenue streams. So, like, facts, like, yes, you need to focus, but so I want to change that. I see hands up. So Ken and Dr. Kiki, I know they want to chime in. I think Ken's hand was up first. Ken, if you want to go ahead.
Uh-oh, sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I thought I saw your hand raised that you wanted to jump in.
Oh, no. I raised my hand way back when there was something about who's entrepreneurs.
Got it. Okay. So
Okay.
Dr. Kiki, maybe. Dr. Kiki, did you want to chime in?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I concur on a lot of things. Like, I am coming from the medical side, and most people know medical. We don't know business. We don't understand business. Well, for the most of us. And then also, I don't understand tech. Yes, my brother is tech. He does all that. He went to school for comp sci, but he's trying to do his own business, and me trying to chime in and ask him questions is like, okay, I'm coming. Let me get back to you. And I'm still waiting, so it's always good for opportunities to join in on moments like these. And then also, I did not go to an HBCU, but I am pro-Black all the way. So it's always trying to understand, how do I find out the information that can help me to learn business and speak business? Because every time they're talking about, seed funding, pre-seed, this seed, and then even learning today about the crowdfunding, the different types, I was just like, okay, I didn't even know you had to put up equity for crowdfunding, or you didn't, or, so it's just like, what are resources? What are the books? What are the things that you learn? Because you Google and so much pops up, and it's 10 different definitions for one, one statement, one question. So it's always trying to figure out how do you go to places that are intimate like this and that can teach you or help you understand the business/tech side. Because just yesterday, I found out being a small business owner and being a tech person are two different things. You cannot be, both cannot lie in the same, industry. And I'm learning so many different things, but all in all, is like where are the resources, especially for Black people trying to learn this? Where are those resources?
Well, please make sure you drop your information into the Google Docs. I'm definitely going to follow up with some of those resources for you and anyone else who's interested. And one thing that we do at Nile is, we're starting to systematize the collection of various resources, whether it's a new grant opportunity or whether it's a new learning program or for entrepreneurs and for people who are building their businesses, and then include those in weekly emails out to our business owner community. So there are other newsletters and things like that that can be very helpful for you. So make sure you drop your contact info into that Google Doc, and I'll make sure that we get you more resources. And anyone else who has specific questions or things that they're really looking for, make sure you also put that in the Google Doc, and we'll follow up, because part of building the ecosystem and the community is making sure that those of us who don't know where to start, we got some sort of starting point. And Jason, who has left, was part of that community for me. He was part of helping me figure out where to start when I didn't really know, and when I was just conceptualizing Nile. So it's been so amazing to have him be a continued part of that journey and to join for this particular type of discussion. So we're coming up to 1 p.m. I'm just going to ask if anyone else has anything that they want to add to the conversation. And then if not, we can close it out so that you can at least have a few minutes to yourself before the next session.
I think Taja.
Yes. Hi. So I have one more question. I know I've probably been asking like a million of them, but I guess that's a good thing. So I wanted to ask everyone who is either in the process of starting their business or already into it, how did you develop your business tribe? Because I started my business, or I launched the LLC in like 2018. And I do everything, I'm like running the whole thing myself. And when I first told people I was starting a business, they're like, oh, with who? And I'm like, I'm doing it by myself. And they looked at me like I was nuts. And now that I'm into it, I'm like, I see why they looked at me like that. So now that I've, established it, it's my baby, and I know how it's run, how would anyone recommend I, bring other people onto the team who are going to be just as passionate, especially considering I can't pay anybody right now?
Oh, that is that is the question of the year. I think we're all
okay, so do you want me to share my my thoughts on this?
Please.
So just understand, like, I'm not saying this is a solid, this is where I'm at in the journey. People have done things like, if you find someone, it all depends on what you're trying to hire, right? Are you trying to hire someone who you think you want to be a co-founder of your business? Or are you trying to hire like just an employee? Or are you trying to hire like contractors to do things?
So it's a combination of things. So for example, it would be great to have a co-founder. I'm cautious about it because I have had people approach me before that were interested in partnering, but I don't know if their intentions were in the right place. And of course, like when you go into business with someone, even if they're family or you've known them for years, it could all go sideways. So I want to make sure that there's good rapport, that they're really passionate about it, or as passionate about it as I am. But other than co-founders, I'm looking for people who are who are able to do things like marketing, accounting, just little things here and there, or even like photography, because I do I'm working on a lot of video content for the YouTube channel and things like that. So I need like a bunch of different hands, and I'm like, okay, a lot of the stuff I've pretty much been doing on my own, but I know I'm gonna go a lot faster and be a lot more successful at it if I have more people. It's just taking forever. Like, I know for a fact I won't be able to pay anybody for like another year. You know what I mean?
So
Unless I get capital.
So I would think about, so it's really important, by the way, the hiring like of your second and third person, third employee or whoever, because there's a lot of data that shows businesses that have 2 or 3 employees do significantly better revenue wise, just FYI. So it's really important. You're just gonna have to talk to a lot of people and sell them on your vision, right? Sell them like, this is my vision. And then you need to date them. Like if somebody comes on board and they're like, I get this vision, you need to date them. And that may look like, all right, so would you want to come on and do like this component of the work for like this portion of like how much money or something like that. Co-founders, 100%, you have to date, because like you don't know, you want to protect yourself to make sure like they are in alignment and they're going to like work to the same level as you, right? Like that's what I think is a concern that happens. And then when you find that person who really is ideal, you can use like some of your business equity or advisory levels of equity you could kind of distribute in a way. And there's like, if you Google around, you can find out like what makes sense. But there's also vesting around it, right? So you set vesting terms around it where it's like, well, if they don't hit a certain amount of like stuff to do or they're not doing the work, then it doesn't vest. You can think of things like that. The other hacks that I've done is I try to figure out what I really, really need like to outsource and like find an outsource option. So
Upwork,
like
a lot of people dropped Upwork into the chat. That's been a great resource for me for contractors. So, and you can find people who are, you know, at all different price points. People who are based in other countries who will be very helpful and very cheap. Another thing that I'll say, and I just want to wrap it up because we're 3 minutes to 1 p.m. One more thing is that coming to things like this and just talking about your business all the time, talking about what you're doing everywhere that you go, you never know who you will meet who will say, wow, that's really interesting. That's cool. I'd love to talk more about that. Or, you know, they just hear your name, see somewhere you've mentioned your business, and then you get connected with you and it's all good from there. People have found me on LinkedIn. People have seen things about Nile in conversations like this, and then become just so integral to our business, and either as champions of the business or participants in some way. We found interns through just social media posting. So make sure you're always touting your business wherever you go, and make sure that you are on our mailing list, because we're going to be building out a platform within Nile to help connect you with different resources. We are literally forming partnerships right now with like Black accountants and bookkeepers to make sure that we can get you accessible access to their services and that kind of stuff, and also facilitate a place for the business owners in our community to talk to one another and exchange resources and information. So thank you all for joining. I'm gonna let everyone go. Hopefully you all will have time to catch our pitch for purpose later with our favorite Renee pitching FundBlackFounders, and let's get her some of these dollars.
Thank you. Send me good vibes, y'all. Pray.
Yay. Thank you everyone for joining us, and I look forward to staying connected. Drop your info in the Google Doc and vote for Renee in the pitch.
Thank you. Thank you, Khadijah. Thank you, everyone.
Bye all.
Thank you.